God allows certain addictions in the lives of chosen ones not as a punishment or as a sign of weakness, but as a deliberate and purposeful act to reveal their true strength and resilience. These addictions, whether they take the form of emotional attachments, habits, or recurring temptations, serve as mirrors reflecting the inner fortitude and latent potential of those chosen for a higher calling. Often, people see addiction purely as a destructive force, something to be eradicated or feared, but in the spiritual realm, there is a different dimension to this reality. For the chosen ones, God permits these challenges not to break them but to test the depth of their faith, the durability of their character, and the extent of their perseverance under pressure. Each struggle, no matter how consuming it appears on the surface, functions as a divine calibration, designed to stretch the soul beyond ordinary limitations. When a chosen one faces repeated patterns of temptation or compulsion, it is not necessarily a reflection of moral failure, rather, it is an opportunity to witness their own capacity for endurance, to observe how they respond when confronted with forces that seem overpowering. The true measure of strength is not in avoiding the challenge but in navigating it with awareness, integrity, and unwavering faith. This is why God allows certain addictions only in the lives of those He has specifically prepared for unique destinies, because these individuals have the resilience to withstand trials that would overwhelm others. Addiction, in this context, becomes a proving ground, a space where latent resilience is activated and honed. It is also a mechanism for teaching discernment, showing chosen ones which aspects of their nature are pliable, which are fragile, and which can be transformed into instruments of divine service. Through these repeated encounters with temptation or compulsive behavior, the chosen ones learn to identify the triggers and underlying causes of their struggles. They begin to see patterns that are invisible to others, gaining insight into the spiritual, emotional, and psychological layers of their own existence. This self-awareness is a vital component of the growth process, as it allows them to respond intentionally rather than react impulsively. The resilience that emerges from confronting these addictive patterns is not superficial, it permeates every dimension of their being, strengthening not only their willpower but also their emotional intelligence, spiritual sensitivity, and capacity for empathy. Experiencing and surviving what seems unbearable instills a profound sense of confidence in the chosen ones, a confidence that comes from knowing they have faced their weaknesses head-on and emerged stronger, wiser, and more attuned to their divine purpose. Furthermore, these addictions often serve as catalysts for creativity and innovation. When chosen ones wrestle with recurring challenges, they are forced to explore unconventional solutions, to adapt, and to develop strategies that would never be required in a life without struggle. This process cultivates ingenuity and flexibility, qualities essential for fulfilling the unique missions that God has entrusted to them. In this way, the struggles are not merely tolerated, they are actively used as instruments for growth, pushing the chosen ones to expand beyond ordinary human limitations. Another critical aspect of this divine allowance is the sharpening of character. Addiction, in its many forms, exposes vulnerabilities, insecurities, and fears that might otherwise remain hidden. By confronting these issues repeatedly, chosen ones are compelled to cultivate virtues such as patience, humility, and perseverance. They learn to acknowledge their weaknesses without allowing them to define their identity, transforming what could be a source of shame into a platform for empowerment and spiritual refinement. This process is deeply personal and cannot be rushed. It unfolds according to a divine timetable that ensures the lessons are fully integrated into the chosen one's consciousness. God's wisdom in permitting these trials is evident in the way they cultivate endurance that is resilient not only in moments of comfort but also under pressure. The repeated nature of these addictive struggles ensures that the chosen ones internalize the lessons being taught. They are continually reminded of the fragility and strength of human will, the necessity of vigilance, and the importance of aligning every action with a higher purpose. This repeated engagement strengthens their capacity to endure not only personal trials but also the challenges they will inevitably face as they step into their larger calling. Addiction, when divinely purposed, becomes a teacher, a guide, and a refining fire. It distinguishes those who are prepared to rise above temporary discomfort from those who falter at the first sign of struggle. It draws out latent courage, revealing that the chosen ones are capable of navigating complexities that might overwhelm ordinary individuals. The resilience developed through these experiences becomes a hallmark of their identity, equipping them to lead, inspire, and serve with authority grounded in lived experience. Through this lens, every struggle takes on meaning and intentionality. No encounter is wasted, no challenge is meaningless, and every addictive pattern is an opportunity to witness the power of faith, will, and divine orchestration working in tandem. Chosen ones, by enduring and learning from these experiences, cultivate a rare kind of strength that cannot be acquired through ease or comfort. It is a strength forged in the crucible of repeated trials, tested by circumstances that seem insurmountable, and refined by the consistent choice to rise, to persevere, and to remain aligned with their higher calling. This process also enhances their capacity for empathy, as experiencing profound personal struggle allows them to understand and guide others facing similar challenges. It is not just about individual resilience, it is about developing the insight and compassion necessary to serve a greater purpose, to be a source of guidance and inspiration for those who have not yet encountered their own divine tests. In essence, these divinely permitted addictions act as mirrors, reflecting the inner fortitude of chosen ones, revealing their capacity to withstand trials, adapt to challenges, and ultimately emerge stronger. They are a deliberate instrument of growth, carefully calibrated to awaken resilience, sharpen character, and cultivate the courage required to fulfill a destiny that is extraordinary in scope and purpose. By allowing these patterns to exist, God is not endorsing weakness or imperfection but is instead orchestrating a transformative journey that prepares the chosen ones to embody the strength, wisdom, and perseverance necessary to accomplish their divine missions. The struggles, when embraced with awareness and faith, become milestones on a path that leads to extraordinary personal and spiritual evolution, revealing that true strength is not the absence of challenge but the ability to rise repeatedly in the face of it, to navigate complexities with grace, and to remain steadfast in the pursuit of purpose. Each addiction that God allows in the lives of chosen ones carries a hidden purpose, a divine reason carefully woven into the fabric of their existence, to shape them for their ultimate destiny. These are not random struggles or meaningless patterns, they are intentional tools of spiritual refinement, designed to bring clarity, awareness, and growth. The hidden purposes embedded within these challenges often remain invisible at first, obscured by the discomfort, shame, or confusion that accompanies compulsive behaviors. However, for the chosen ones, these divine allowances are never wasted. They are deliberate invitations to awaken to a higher level of consciousness and to recognize the extraordinary potential within. Every addiction, whether it manifests as an intense emotional attachment, an obsessive pursuit, or a recurring habit, is designed to uncover specific truths about the individual's character and spiritual alignment. Through these challenges, the chosen ones are given opportunities to observe themselves in ways that would be impossible without struggle, to identify the strengths that have remained dormant, and to confront the areas of weakness that require attention. This process of self-revelation is central to their spiritual journey, for it is only when one sees the full spectrum of one's own tendencies and inclinations that transformation can occur. The hidden purposes behind these addictions often involve the cultivation of essential virtues that are required for the fulfillment of their divine mission. Patience, discernment, resilience, and humility are repeatedly exercised and strengthened through encounters with addictive patterns. When a chosen one wrestles with a compulsion that feels overpowering, they are not merely experiencing a test of willpower, they are being trained in endurance, in strategic thinking, and in the ability to maintain focus on higher objectives despite the distractions of immediate desires. In this way, every challenge functions as a divine classroom, teaching lessons that extend far beyond the surface struggle and into the core of the soul. One of the most profound hidden purposes of these allowed addictions is the awakening of awareness. Chosen ones are often led through experiences that force them to confront their inner truths, to examine motives, and to recognize patterns that previously operated beneath conscious awareness. These encounters serve as catalysts for spiritual insight, allowing the individual to discern the subtle interplay between desire, fear, and divine guidance. Through this heightened awareness, they begin to understand not only their own nature but also the broader principles that govern human behavior and spiritual alignment. This insight equips them to navigate life with greater clarity, making choices that align more closely with their higher purpose and divine mission. Another hidden purpose of these challenges is the development of empathy and understanding. By experiencing struggles that feel isolating or burdensome, chosen ones gain the ability to relate to others with compassion and authenticity. They recognize that every person has battles that may not be visible on the surface and that each challenge carries its own purpose in shaping character and destiny. This empathetic awareness becomes a critical component of their spiritual authority, allowing them to guide, support, and inspire others who face similar trials. Addiction, in this context, transforms from a source of shame or confusion into a tool for developing emotional intelligence and relational depth. The hidden purposes of these divine allowances also extend to the refinement of personal power and influence. Chosen ones often possess unique abilities or callings that require a heightened level of self-mastery, focus, and resilience. Through the challenges presented by allowed addictions, they learn to exert control over impulses, to direct energy toward constructive outcomes, and to harness their experiences as fuel for creativity, problem-solving, and leadership. This process ensures that when they step into positions of responsibility or service, they do so with wisdom, integrity, and the capacity to navigate complexities that would overwhelm those untested by similar experiences. Furthermore, these hidden purposes are instrumental in preparing chosen ones for moments of pivotal transformation or divine opportunity. Life often presents situations that demand courage, decisiveness, and spiritual clarity, and the lessons embedded within addictive patterns serve as preparation for these critical junctures. By enduring repetitive struggles, the chosen ones develop the fortitude required to respond effectively when called upon to fulfill extraordinary tasks or to act in alignment with divine guidance. The pattern of challenge, reflection, and growth ensures that they are neither impulsive nor unprepared but instead grounded in a deep understanding of their own capabilities and limitations. Another essential dimension of these hidden purposes is the cultivation of spiritual discernment. Chosen ones are often required to navigate environments filled with distractions, false guidance, and competing influences. The experiences that arise from allowed addictions refine their ability to distinguish between what is spiritually nourishing and what is potentially harmful, sharpening their intuition and enabling them to make choices that serve long-term growth rather than short-term gratification. This discernment is not superficial, it is a profound inner knowing, a heightened sensitivity to divine instruction, and an ability to perceive the underlying currents of life that shape outcomes in ways that may not be immediately visible. Additionally, the hidden purposes often involve the transformation of suffering into strength. What initially appears as a burden becomes a crucible for character development, a medium through which latent abilities are activated, and a vehicle for achieving levels of personal and spiritual maturity that would be unattainable without the experience of struggle. Chosen ones learn to see beyond immediate discomfort, recognizing that each challenge carries an encoded lesson designed to elevate them, to deepen their understanding of themselves, and to align them more closely with the trajectory of their divine purpose. Through this process, they develop resilience, adaptability, and a profound sense of purpose that permeates every aspect of their lives. In essence, the hidden purposes behind the addictions allowed in the lives of chosen ones are multifaceted, intentional, and transformative. They serve to reveal truths, cultivate essential virtues, refine character, awaken awareness, develop empathy, prepare for divine opportunities, and strengthen spiritual discernment. These divine intentions transform struggles into stepping stones, compulsion into teaching, and difficulty into preparation for extraordinary destiny. By understanding and embracing these hidden purposes, chosen ones are able to navigate their challenges with clarity, faith, and a sense of empowerment, recognizing that every experience, even those that feel overwhelming or unwanted, is an integral part of the journey toward fulfilling their higher calling. Every addiction, when viewed through this lens, is not merely a struggle to overcome but a sacred instrument designed to awaken potential, illuminate purpose, and guide the chosen ones toward the life they were destined to live. Recognizing and understanding the divine allowances in the lives of chosen ones transforms struggles into spiritual breakthroughs, revealing that what appears as a challenge or a weakness is actually an opportunity for growth, awakening, and alignment with a higher purpose. These addictions, permitted by God, are not intended to entrap or diminish the chosen ones but to act as catalysts for self-discovery and transformation. When a person begins to see their recurring struggles not as failures but as divine instruments, the entire perspective shifts, creating space for empowerment and profound spiritual insight. Each addiction carries lessons specifically tailored to the individual, designed to illuminate areas of their life that require attention, healing, and refinement. By confronting these patterns with awareness, chosen ones gain clarity about themselves, their desires, and the ways in which their inner world interacts with the external environment. The first step in transforming struggle into breakthrough is acknowledgement. The chosen ones learn that denial or avoidance only prolongs the challenge, whereas recognition of the issue allows them to observe its patterns, triggers, and impact. This process of observation fosters mindfulness, enabling them to step outside the compulsion and view it with a degree of objectivity. In doing so, they begin to understand that the addiction, though uncomfortable, serves a specific purpose within the divine plan. Through repeated experiences with these challenges, chosen ones develop resilience and fortitude that extend far beyond the immediate struggle. They learn to navigate emotional turbulence, maintain focus under pressure, and act with intentionality even when faced with distractions. The struggle becomes a teacher, guiding them to cultivate patience, self-discipline, and a deeper connection with their spiritual center. Each breakthrough achieved in the midst of difficulty strengthens not only their resolve but also their faith, creating a foundation upon which further growth can be built. Another crucial aspect of this transformation is the awakening of discernment. As chosen ones engage with their allowed addictions, they are forced to distinguish between temporary gratification and long-term fulfillment. They learn to recognize the subtle differences between impulses that serve their divine purpose and those that detract from it. This heightened discernment is invaluable, enabling them to make choices that align with their higher calling rather than succumbing to fleeting desires or societal pressures. The process of overcoming or learning from these patterns often leads to profound self-awareness. Chosen ones begin to see their own tendencies, motivations, and emotional responses more clearly. They gain insight into how their past experiences, subconscious beliefs, and spiritual alignment influence behavior. This self-awareness acts as a compass, guiding them toward actions, decisions, and relationships that are congruent with their true purpose. In essence, the struggles themselves become a mirror reflecting their inner reality, showing where growth is needed and where strength already exists. Spiritual breakthroughs also emerge from the development of empathy and compassion. Experiencing challenges that are uniquely allowed for their personal growth provides chosen ones with the ability to relate deeply to others facing similar struggles. This empathetic awareness transforms personal hardship into a tool for connection, healing, and guidance. By understanding the intricacies of human weakness and resilience through their own experiences, chosen ones are equipped to mentor, support, and inspire others on their journeys. Addiction, when approached with consciousness and intention, becomes a conduit for cultivating emotional intelligence, strengthening relationships, and fostering a sense of purpose that transcends personal struggle. Furthermore, recognizing the hidden purpose behind these challenges allows chosen ones to reframe their narrative. Instead of seeing themselves as victims of circumstance or weakness, they understand that every recurring pattern is a deliberate divine lesson, designed to refine their character, expand their capacity, and prepare them for extraordinary responsibility. This reframing transforms fear into courage, despair into hope, and confusion into clarity, creating a mindset in which breakthroughs are not only possible but inevitable. These breakthroughs are not limited to emotional or psychological growth, they extend into spiritual, creative, and practical dimensions of life. The lessons embedded in these struggles encourage innovation, adaptability, and strategic thinking, as chosen ones are required to navigate patterns that challenge conventional approaches. The ability to turn adversity into opportunity becomes a hallmark of their journey, equipping them to face future challenges with confidence and insight. Another dimension of understanding and recognizing divine allowances is the cultivation of surrender and trust. Chosen ones learn that not every challenge requires immediate resolution or control. Some experiences are meant to unfold according to divine timing, and the act of surrendering to this process cultivates faith, patience, and alignment with higher wisdom. By trusting in the divine orchestration behind these struggles, chosen ones release the need for control and embrace the flow of life, allowing breakthroughs to occur naturally as lessons are absorbed and integrated. The transformational power of these experiences is also evident in the way they cultivate resilience that is both deep and versatile. Chosen ones learn to navigate repeated cycles of challenge without being broken, to approach difficulties with creativity and resourcefulness, and to maintain alignment with their purpose even when external circumstances are chaotic or demanding. The repeated engagement with these allowed struggles builds a spiritual stamina that becomes a defining feature of their character, equipping them to fulfill missions and responsibilities that require extraordinary endurance, insight, and commitment. Ultimately, the ability to recognize and understand the divine purposes behind these addictions elevates the chosen ones beyond ordinary human experience. Struggles that might seem insurmountable are transformed into stepping stones toward mastery, self-realization, and spiritual fulfillment. By engaging with these challenges consciously, the chosen ones are able to extract wisdom, cultivate strength, and develop a profound understanding of their own divine identity. Each breakthrough achieved through this process reinforces their connection to purpose, illuminates their potential, and prepares them to embrace the extraordinary life that awaits. This ongoing transformation illustrates that what may appear as weakness or compulsion is, in fact, a carefully orchestrated divine opportunity, enabling chosen ones to convert challenge into empowerment, struggle into insight, and temptation into a pathway toward spiritual evolution. The recognition of this hidden divine intention transforms not only their relationship with their struggles but also their entire approach to life, infusing it with clarity, courage, and the unwavering confidence that every experience, no matter how difficult, is a sacred step on the path to fulfilling their higher calling.